Hello everybody. Firstly, I'd like to explain the purpose of this video, and that way if there's anybody that's not interested, please stop watching immediately. What I'm hoping to do today is to try and explain to you how your corrupt legal establishment is operating in the context of one specific criminal whose name is Ajju Sindolli. You may have heard of this guy. As I say, I'm using him as an example, but I'm sure there are many Ajju Sindollis in Goa. He's just the one that I'm most familiar with. So anyway, as I said, if you are interested in tackling corruption in your society, and in particular in your legal system, in your police system, then please watch to the end. If you're not interested in doing that, then please stop watching now, leave your negative thumbs down, whatever you want to do. I'm not bothered. I want to get this important message out. So here goes. So who exactly is Ajju Sindolli? Well, he's a criminal fraudster who's been operating in Goa for at least the last decade, and he's fleeced crores of rupees. To international viewers, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars from the unsuspecting people of Goa. And the reason he's done that, or the reason he's been able to do that, is undoubtedly a very, very clever guy. He's got an extremely clever criminal mind, and he's using his criminal mind to exploit the weaknesses of your criminal justice system and basically to run rings around the judiciary and the police. I first came to know about this guy in about 2009 when I found out that he cheated a good friend of mine out of 31 lakh Indian rupees, which for international viewers that's about £31,000 or probably about $38,000. It was his life savings. The guy's name is Andrew Rodericks. He's a married man with 4 kids, and the loss of his life savings, it wrecked his life, and I mean that in the literal sense. He is now suffering mental issues as a result. This bastard Sindolli has literally destroyed his life. That's how I became involved in trying to get justice for Andrew and a lot of other people. I think it was in 2015 I got a phone call from a couple of people that they knew I was fighting this battle somehow. I ended up in Panjim police station with a few other victims, and we filed some cases, criminal cases that are still ongoing. That's more than 4 years later, I think, if my figures are correct. It was certainly 2016, if not 15. So why is nobody taking any action against Ajju Sindolli? Because he sits there and he stands there and he walks around Panjim and other places boasting that nobody can touch him. He's got police in his pocket. He's made arrangements in Delhi. All this, that and the other. The thing is though, he's telling the truth, I think. He has some sort of blackmail stranglehold over the entire establishment, including your chief minister. I'll come to that in a minute. But basically, he's a con artist. And as everybody should know, very accomplished con artists are extremely good liars. That is how they do it. So whatever Ajju Sindolli says, some people will believe. I'm not saying those people are fools. He's just so good at what he does. It was once said to me, and I was once told that he can speak to you and he could get you to remove your trousers and you wouldn't know that you wouldn't know that he'd done it. He's like a professional hypnotist. That is my opinion of the way he operates. He is doing some sort of mind control, maybe hypnotism, but it's just the way he speaks. It has an amazing effect on getting people to do what he wants. Basically, the man is full of shit. It's all crap, it's bullshit. According to Ajju Sindolli, he's a mine dump owner. He's not allowed to own mine dumps, not without a mining license. The mining dumps belong to the government of Goa. But if you speak to any of his contacts, yes, he owns mine dumps, and he's worth trillions of rupees, millions of dollars he makes out. He makes out that he's an international businessman. He had an office in Panjim. We eventually got the sign took down with enough persuasion of CCP, but he paid bribes to the CCP. He paid bribes all over the place. He's paid bribes to the police. PSI Prasanna Bhagat. Already he's been more or less, he has been convicted of fraud in the police force. And yet when we filed these cases against Sindolli, he was basically in charge of the economic offences cell. Now what the hell is going on there? You've got a convicted fraudster who is running the economic offences cell. Can anybody else see the stupidity in that situation? Now Bhagat he's been moved to, I believe, Reserve Battalion. They've shunted him out of the EOC, but he's still in the police. I know exactly why. It's because of his godfather. He's been protected by somebody influential. If you want to know who that is, Google it or ask somebody. To be honest, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's been protected by somebody who will not let Bhagat lose his job. Now, I'll tell you this, and by the way, everything I'm telling you, everything, please believe me, everything I'm telling you is truthful. Now, so when I say that PSI Bhagat has issued death threats against me, that is the truth. But PSI Bhagat, he's a crook, and he doesn't deserve to be in Goa Police. Yet nobody can kick him out because he has a powerful godfather. Okay, that's enough of Bhagat. There is one other officer there. I'm not going to name him now. He knows who he is when he watches this video. I know these people have taken bribes from Sindolli. I've met the guy who arranged it. That same guy also arranged help from your ex-CM, Lakshmikant Parsikar. Yes, your ex-CM has had personal contact with this crook, fraudster, whatever you want to call him. Parsikar is involved in this. So please, somebody go and point a camera in Parsikar's face. Ask him what he knows about Ajju Sindolli, because I know the truth. And actually one time I met Parsikar. I went to his office and I told him, I wrote him a letter and I handed him that letter, and at the bottom of the letter I said, one day sir, Ajju Sindolli is going to make a fool of you. I hope that's happening right now. Ajju Sindolli certainly made a fool of him, and he's not the only one that's happened to. Around the similar time as I met Parsikar, I also met Francis D'Souza, the late Francis D'Souza. Now Francis D'Souza told me that all Sindolli's victims were fools. He had no compassion whatsoever. And I stood up, there are witnesses to this, I stood up and I shouted at Francis D'Souza, and I said to him, look sir, these people, yes, they may be fools. Some of them, they made some foolish mistakes. I wouldn't say they're fools, they made some foolish mistakes in trusting Sindolli. But at the end of the day, Ajju Sindolli is a con artist and a fraudster. That is the fact of the matter. It's not these people's fault for trusting a con artist. The con artist, that's his job, to fool people. Anybody can be fooled by him, and one of those people was Parsikar, and another one was Francis D'Souza. Now, thankfully, Francis D'Souza has already received his karma. We all know what I mean by that. Now, there are other people, as I said, involved with Ajju Sindolli. Another one is Rohan County. Rohan County, he knows all about Sindolli. I met him one day with a bunch of other people. We gave him a load of information. And guess what? County, he lost the file. He lost all the information. Now it just so happened that at the time, Ajju Sindolli was one of County's constituents in Porvorim. In fact, he lived just around the corner from Rowan County's office at Socorro in Porvorim. Now, I think you can draw your own conclusions here. I've drawn mine. I know exactly what's going on. Sindolli had personal dealings with Rowan County, and it was something to do with finding jobs for people in Sindolli's fake business. Something about that. But certainly the two knew each other, still do know each other. So that's County. Another one, Damu Naik, another crook. Damu Naik is another crook. He was using Ajju Sindolli as a middleman, Ajju Sindolli was using Damu Naik as a middleman to broker some massive land deal in Margao with the Salgonka brothers, the mining people. I don't know full details about that. All I know is that Damu Naik, Ajju Sindolli and the Salgonkas were conducting personal land deal business in government offices, which I've been told is illegal. Damu Naik is a crook, and he was definitely involved with Ajju Sindolli in that way. Also another one, while I think about it, Dagamba Karmat. Sindolli used to go to Karmat's house for breakfast. Dagamba Karmat's wife used to make Ajju Sindolli breakfast. Now this is the sort of connections that Ajju Sindolli has got. He's got these people wrapped around his fingers, wrapped around his fingers, and he's twisted their opinions. He's definitely involved in shady deals with all of them. Francis de Souza was involved in shady land deals with Ajju Sindolli, I believe. God, if you knew the whole plot, it's amazing. I just simply haven't got time to sit here talking about it. So I will proceed one step further to the judicial system. That's what I really wanted to talk about. Now, Sindolli has got about 20 or 30 cases pending against him, mostly check bouncing cases, but some are more serious criminal offences of fraud and cheating. Yet he's dragging these cases out for years, and as you know, the legal system in Goa and in India, it's not the most efficient. But he's exploiting every weakness that he can find, and he knows the legal system inside out. A good con artist has to know how to exploit the legal system, and he knows exactly what to do. He will turn up for one court case, and he will stand there and he will say something to the judge, and then the next 3 appearances he will not turn up. And the judge will issue some sort of notice to make him appear, and on that occasion he knows he has to appear. But there are so many non-bailable warrants being issued against this arsehole. I'm surprised nobody's realised what he's doing. He is totally exploiting the loopholes and weaknesses of your criminal justice system, and there are many. You know, the main one is exploiting, of course, I think, is the fact that it's not possible in your system for a judge to keep track of every single case that is put before him or her in a single day. Now, I've seen the way your criminal justice system operates. I've sat there in the courts and I've watched it, and it's a joke. How can you have 40 cases all being heard in the same day? The judge must be as confused as hell. He or she doesn't know what day it is. They can't possibly understand what's happening with 40 cases put before them in one day. The way your system should work is similar to the UK, where you get one case and you hear it to the end. If opponents fight it out in court until there's a verdict, and then you move on to the next one. But at the moment, the way your system is set up, all it does is just there to make money for lawyers and money for the judges. They just all turn up. Every lawyer that turns up gets paid 1,000 rupees or whatever from his client, and all they do is adjourn the case and move it forward a month. What a load of shit. It really is. It's disgraceful. It really needs sorting out. If you can't see that, then there's no hope. And you know, I'm not blaming the judges personally for this. It's not their fault. But when Ajju Sindolli stands up in front of them and gives some bullshit, they're unable to spot it. You know, they will just listen to what he says and think it's the truth, just like everybody else. But I'm telling you, Ajju Sindolli is a con artist, a fraudster, and a cheat. Okay, so what's the role of the police in this? Well, unfortunately for Goa, many of Goa's police are embroiled in Ajju Sindolli's corruption. And I've already mentioned one guy, PSI Prasanna Bagat, but there are others. I'll give you an example. Remember Sunil Garg? Sunil Garg was kicked out of Goa police eventually, rightly so, because he was a crook. But he had taken money from Ajju Sindolli. And I know that for a fact because the guy I mentioned before that arranged the meeting with Parsika and all those other bribes to the cops, that information has come directly from him. I could name him, but that would be a little bit unfair. He knows who he is if he sees this video. Now, current police that are in cahoots with Sindolli. Here's one. P.I. Sinari of Old Goa Police Station. He must be a real good friend of Ajju's for what he's doing for him. Either that or he's taken a massive amount of money. I'll give you the reason why I think this. Recently, Ajju Sindolli lived at a place called Mill Rock. And in order to do that, he had to get police clearance on some sort of form. It's like a tenancy verification thing, but it's a police clearance report requested by the Mill Rock owners and agents that run the Mill Rock place. Now, that clearance came from P.I. Sinari at Old Goa. But a couple of years ago, Ajju Sindolli was declared as a history sheeter. Everybody in Goa Police should know his name by now, including P.I. Sinari. If he doesn't know the name of Ajju Sindolli by now, then he's a really shit policeman, that's my opinion. So, okay, let's accept the fact that Sinari knows Ajju Sindolli, at least knows of him, knows what he is and what he does. Then why did P.I. Sinari sign off a police, verification, a police check for tenancy of a set of flats or whatever? Why did he do that? He's corrupt. That's the reason. Now, I've already told many people the story of how I went one day to Ajju Sindolli's house in Tibim, and I never got past the front gate. I actually went there to give Sindolli a good firing, as you people say in Goa. He's definitely scared of me. He'll be even more scared if I ever meet him again. But I went to his house. I didn't get past the front gate. He wasn't there actually, but he was instructing his houseboy, his guard, whatever you want to call him, to keep me outside. But then what Sindolli did, he went to Mapsa police station and P.I. Lotlika, Tushar Lotlika, I'm referring to here, and he went and filed a police complaint against me, saying that I'd barged into his house, smashed the place up, and thrown things into his indoor swimming pool. By the way, that indoor swimming pool, he used to fill illegally with PWD water, but that's another matter. As I said, Sindolli filed a false complaint against me with P.I. Tushar Lotlika. Now, once I came to know about that complaint, I went straight to the police station and I tried to point out to Lotlika that this was a false complaint, Ajju Sindolli was a liar, and if he wanted the truth, all he needed to do was to go to Ajju Sindolli's house, request the CCTV footage from Sindolli's own cameras, and the truth would have been on there. But Tushar Lotlika never did that. He didn't listen to me. He apparently stayed on the side of Ajju Sindolli. Now, I don't know whether that's just because I was a bloody foreigner or what, but my information and instinct tells me that Tushar Lotlika has taken a payment from Ajju Sindolli. That's my accusation, and I'll stand by it until Tushar Lotlika manages to do his job properly and arrests the criminal fraudster that is living in his jurisdiction. And I say criminal fraudster, that's exactly what he is. I know exactly what he's doing. I have all the evidence against him. I've given most of the evidence to the police, but they do nothing. This latest thing with the passport that I keep going on about, Sindolli has obtained his passport fraudulently. He has contravened the Passport Act 1967 by filing a false declaration. He's given his office address as his residential address, which I believe itself is a crime. But one thing that Section 4 of that Act says is that anybody who applies for an Indian passport has to provide a tenancy agreement backing up their claim of where they're living. So he would have had to, Sindolli would have had to show a tenancy agreement for his residence. Now, if he was claiming he was living in an office, let's see that tenancy agreement for his office that says he lives in that office. I've sent that to the police. It specifically says in his office rental agreement that he cannot live there. It's for business purposes only. So how did the police sign off the verification procedure? You know, when the police go and visit him and say, look, we want to check where you're living, somebody signed that off. I don't know exactly the name of the constable who did that. He's now retired, but he took a bribe from Ajju Sindolli, 100% sure. Because if that officer was doing his job properly, he would have said, no, we can't accept this. It's an office and you don't have proper paperwork to stay here as your residence. So that officer that took the bribe, really, he should go to jail. That would be my recommendation. But also, everybody above him who countersigned that document, that tenancy verification, or residence proof, whatever you want to call it, whoever has signed that piece of paper should face disciplinary proceedings. There's no point in saying that they didn't know what was going on. It's their job to know what is going on, and if their subordinate officer has taken a bribe, you know, they are responsible. It is their subordinate officer that is, you know, doing the dirty work, but that PI should know about it. It's not the low-level officer's fault. I know full well how the system works there. The higher ranks get a cut. They pay money to their higher-ranking officers. That's how your system's working, and I can go into that in much more detail, possibly in another video. That's not the point of this one, but just since I've touched on that, your Goa police system, it's an organised extortion ring, taking money from criminals, passing it up the line. Which reminds me, Dr. Muktesh Chanda, sorry, I think it's this way, Dr. Chanda and his magical flute. He was one of Goa's biggest crooks. He took a massive 1 crore bribe when he was IGP of Goa some years back. I think it was maybe 2005 or something like that. They caught a fraudster. They were going to imprison the bastard. But Muktesh Chandra's wife was an investor in one of their fraudster's schemes, and she wanted her money back. So the arrangement was that Chanda would be paid 1 crore Indian rupees, about £100,000, $125,000, whatever, to let the guy go. So all the other poor bastards that had lost their money with this crook, they lost out. But Chanda, he took his money, and he bought some land, once again near, it's near Sangolda. I can point out the exact location to anybody that's interested in this. But I cannot understand why people are not investigating this bastard for, what's it called in your country, disproportionate assets. The house is built from the proceeds of his thievery from the people of Goa. He could not possibly afford to build even on the salary of Director General of Police. Muktesh Chanda, Muktesh Chanda is a crook. He should be jailed. He's not the only one, there are many, many more. And slowly I will try and expose them all. But I will start with those few for now. Now, thankfully, you'll be pleased to know that I'm coming towards the end of this video. All I would ask is that, as I said at the beginning of the video, if you care about exposing corruption in your society as much as I do, then please pay attention to everything that I've said. As I said, it's the truth. I have no reason to lie. Actually, Ajju Sindolli is not taken 1 rupee from me. I'm doing this, I'm fighting for other people. The reason I'm doing it is because I'm a justice seeker, and I don't like to see people getting shafted by criminals. I believe in fairness, and I believe that criminals like Ajju Sindolli need to be in prison. They certainly don't deserve to be walking the streets after 10 years of committing the same type of crime. You know, the fact that he's doing so, it's a damning indictment of your society. It's truly disgraceful what this guy is doing. I hope that you people can see that. Now, if you want more information, Google this guy's name. Google Ajju Sindolli. And if you Google it with the word fraudster or fraud at the end of it, Ajju Sindolli fraud or something like that, you will pull up a load of information about this guy. I will try and put some links below the video, down here somewhere. Please, if you're interested in what I'm saying, have a look at further information. Google the guy, see what he's doing. But please believe what I'm telling you is the truth. I have no reason to lie. I just want to see proper justice, and I want to see your corrupt society fall apart and be replaced by something that's slightly better than the thing you've got now. Thank you.